The main reason why your sample sucks is because your communication with your manufacturer isn't correct. I've done a few videos on technicals in the past, and I feel like these are the most important videos. But like always, there's 5 key pages that you need to understand in order to have a better understanding of what you're doing so you're not throwing money down the drain. These include things like your main page, your size chart, your detail page, call out page, color page. I'll walk you through how to make this technical, but it'll give you a basic shell in understanding how to make one for your clothing brand. So we're going to start off by introducing a new page / new document within our Illustrator. And I'm working in A3, by the way. That's all my documents for my tech bags. If you want to know all the other details, just copy these right here. I've already started here, but basically you want to get this, and it's fairly easy to make, but I have a template, so I always just copy it over into a new project file anyway, because I can always just come back to it and reuse it. But to make it, basically you have to go ahead and use the rectangular grid tool within Illustrator. Go ahead and create a rectangular grid. Use your up and down arrows to add columns and rows. So for example, if I add a new row, I just press up on the arrow, add a new column. I'm pretty sure it's a column. You add the right or left to take away / add. But once you have your layout / template for the call out regarding your brand, this is just so the manufacturer can reference what brand they're looking at and it's easier for them to see. You can go ahead and start adding stuff to your technical. Now, just an overview, I have the brand name here, the season that I'm working in, the year that I'm working in, the type, so whatever the material / garment is, the main fabric, and the item name. So I already started here, but I didn't record because I was an idiot. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy these over into this document. So just Command C, Command V. But this is the working document for the actual design, by the way, if you guys wanted to see it. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and add in a new document. And this is where you basically add your sizing. Now the client isn't quite sure on sizing just yet. He did send me a size chart, but we overlooked it because it wasn't looking right regarding the item we wanted to create. So I'll just put size chart here. But for reference, I'll just add in like a basic t-shirt size chart. So something like this. And let's say you wanted to find the actual item sizing in regards to your prints. So let's say these things around here, like your print elements, you want to find the sizing. The best way to do that within Illustrator, if you don't have the garment in hand or you don't have a reference garment, is basically use the dimension tool within Illustrator. And what you can do is you can make a 1-to-1 replica of what the actual sizing is going to look like. So you just need to find one reference. So let's say our size for our chest on the extra small / small is around 24 inches. So on the dimension tool, I'll drag out 24 inches. And then from here, I'll grab my actual technical drawing. And since I do my technicals not 1-to-1 to what they would look like laid out as a flat, but to a good enough standard, I can kind of comfortably do this. But if your technical drawings are more on the stylized look, it's a little bit harder to do this because, again, your technical is very stylized. So that's a cropped jersey. This is what the jersey would look like cropped. But again, once you have this information, you can go ahead and start referencing the sizing for your actual prints. Using a box / a rectangle within Illustrator, draw around your actual prints. Now, there's a reason why I'm doing this is because it's easier to confine them within a space like this rather than getting every little increment. And once you have this, you can go ahead and use the dimension tool again and then just drag out and it'll give you the size of prints for your actual designs. The rule of thumb most times, if you don't want to pay for bespoke printing, well, bespoke printing refers to actually printing each different size of garment, a different size of actual graphic. And that is a bit expensive because then they have to get new screens or new cuts of each different size. And that's very expensive. But most brands and most times you get one standard sizing for your print. Let's say this graphic, this is all over graphic, so this wouldn't work. But let's say this graphic right here, it's about 3 inches in width. You would say 3 inches in width for the whole run. So from size extra small all the way to extra large. Again, the design looks smaller depending on the actual garment, but you have a standardized print. And that's what we're doing here. So I'm sizing it to the smallest garment because that's what you usually do. The width and height of 21. And then we could also grab the sizing in regards to our tags. And luckily this is already a rectangle of some sort, so we don't have to do much here. Wonderful. And you could even get things like actual sleeve length and even shoulder to shoulder. But again, if your design isn't drawn to specification of a professional flat lay, this is going to not work. So take this with precautions and make sure you're drawing your actual technicals with proper proportions, which is hard. I don't do it. Like, this is not a one-to-one proportion, but it's good enough for me to get the sizing dimensions of my print. There we go. For the dimensions, it will go onto a different page. And I'm just gonna go ahead and expand this. So the dimensions are no longer live. They're just shapes and lines now, or text and line. And then I'm just gonna scale it down and put it on here. So for reference, this is not one-to-one, but for reference, this is what a professional size chart on a technical would look like. Again, you can keep the branding consistent and put this up here, but most times I don't for the size chart because you want the full width of this. The next page I will add in is our detail page. Now with this detail page that I'm adding in, I will get the actual call out detail page. Now within the detail page, this is where you get into the nitty gritty, especially if you have like an interesting concept like this. You want to be as detailed as possible. And again, this is not the call out page. This is the little detail page. So you go ahead and label things like specifications of the mesh and things like specifications of the actual fabric. For the sake of this, I'm just going to go ahead and rush through this process. 100% cotton t-shirt. And then like if I don't know what a good specification is, I'll usually like go to ChatGPT, because you usually don't remember this stuff unless you write it down on a piece of paper. And I'll ask Chat, hey Chat, what's the average weight in GSM for a cotton button-up short sleeve? So that's very light, 170 GSM, which makes sense. And that's considered the medium weight, actually. That's kind of insane. So we'll just call that 170 GSM for this area here, but 100% cotton. We don't want anything else for this general section. And this kind of applies for this section here. Mesh, it's called bird's eye mesh. That's what we want. Bird's eye mesh with a cotton lining. So cotton lining is going to be at the behind this. So basically it's not see-through. And again, you kind of get this information as you're in the industry a bit more. There's probably a guy out there right now watching this video like, you forgot to put in the detail for all the little stitch lines. Again, when you're in the streetwear scene, this kind of comes as a prelude of what you kind of want, and you kind of leave it up to the manufacturer for some things. But in regards to things that are most important that the customer is going to be worried about, like size of print, color, and things like that, you want to call it out. But if you're not technically specifying all the little bits of detail, you kind of leave it up to the manufacturer. That's why most people say the more information, the better, because you leave it up to chance if you're not putting it in. But again, you don't always have to be 100%. I want especially if you're making a hoodie or something like that. Now for the jersey, I actually want to make these sections here like a elastic or elasticine. And elasticine is most times just made out of poly-made fabric. And again, it's always good to have images, and this is basically where you add your images. Now for the actual brand name and number, I'm gonna go with tackle twill rather than just your basic sublimination, just to make the jersey a little bit more high quality. If you don't know what tackle twill is, this is what I'm referring to. Object, rasterize, tackle twill. There we go. Now, once you have your images, you usually like call out the certain sections. So this is going to be the ribbed and elastic section right here. And this is going to be the tackle twill 2 colors. And then this is going to be the embroidery patches, just so the manufacturer knows exactly what you're talking about in regards to that. Now, again, the detail page is for you to go crazy. So if you have a certain way you want things stitched, if you want a certain way to have things like embroidered, go ahead and put that in and don't be scared to. But just for the example of this, I'm just going to leave it at that. Next, it's going to be your call out page. Now, this is just a simplified version of your detail section, and it just calls out all the different areas. It's kind of the same thing, but the detail section has images. So if you have like a certain type of fabric you want to include and you have photos of it, that's where you add it in your detail page, and you can have as much detail pages as you want. The call out page is just a summary of it. So if you're doing like a shirt or something like that, you usually don't need a detail page unless you're doing like a custom sort of like neckline, like on this shirt here, how it's like very distressed. You'll put that in a detail page with images. Now on the call out page, you usually have the front or the back, and then you will grab your rectangular tool like this, add some stroke to it, maybe change the color to like a red or something like that. And then in here, you'll go ahead and make a circle like so, and then we'll go ahead and add a stroke. And now on this stroke, we're gonna go ahead and go into the arrowheads, and then we'll add like an arrowhead like this. Go ahead and expand it, arrange, bring to front, object, path, offset path on the circle, -2. And let's go ahead and expand the arrow. Let's go ahead and use the shape builder this time. And then we'll make a fill here like this. Let's go ahead and make this large, and then just press Command D to repeat that action. Now for the main call out, it's literally the same exact things that we have here. So embroidery patches, tackle twill, you'll put that in here. And then basically you'll grab this and then you'll put it here as well. And you just repeat this action following each individual section. So I'll do my tackle twill as well, and I'll put it here, and I'll change the number to 2 to 2. Basically, this is your key, and this is what you're trying to label out for your manufacturer. Wonderful. And then you'll also do this exact same step for the back. Now on this page, I'll usually have my colors. So let's say you have multiple colors of the design. Let's go to color books, CMY uncoded. Let's go ahead and drag this over here. Let's say we wanted a black version. So we do it like this. And then we have like a yellow version. Basically want to make little rectangles. And now in these little rectangles, you're gonna add the color codes next to them. So you'll add text, and it's gonna be Pantone P, and then it's going to be the code. So Pantone P, 1 take 4U, 1 take 4U. And then next one, it's going to be white, and then it's going to be red, 56 take 16, Pantone P. Let's go white again. So this is very important, especially if you're going to print with a new manufacturer and you don't have their color books. Having your Pantones is going to give you guys a understanding of what colors you're kind of in the ballpark for. Obviously, they're not the greatest unless you have the physical Pantones with you and you can get the thread color, but I find that having the digital colors really helps in matching the physical colors or getting something close, so you're not spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on multiple samples just for different colors. And it's going to be the same for this as well. Only difference would probably be this one right here, and this is going to be black. And you could also label the different sections of the colors. This would be the body like this, and then from here it could be something like graphic. And now that you have up to this page, like this is the premises of what you're really trying to make. Again, don't listen to me and do more. So like have a separate page just for your tags, have a separate page just for your buttons, have a separate page just for these little sections here if you really want to. But for the sake of this video and keeping it short and giving you guys an understanding, I'm doing it this way. Lastly, you want to grab all your graphics and you basically want to scale them. And then I'll usually just grab the artboard tool, and then I'll make artboards around each graphic. And this just saves time from having a whole new document to export it. And then from here, I can usually just grab all my designs and go to export and add them all for export. And when I'm exporting for production, I usually have PNG for previews, SVJ if the manufacturer wants to edit colors, and a PDF also if the manufacturer wants to edit colors. But PDFs are usually just standard within the industry for different programs, like if they want to open in Photoshop or something like that. And again, that's exactly how you make a technical again, I wanted to show you guys how to make another technical. Why? Because I feel like these are my favorite videos, and I feel like technicals are very important, especially when it comes to print. And the more you do, the better. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy that video of me making another technical in 2025. I'll see you guys when I see you. I love you. Peace.